right, welcome back, everyone. Here we go for the next 2 rounds of this thrilling tournament. I am joined here with Infist. How are you doing?
Well, wonderful to ask of you, Silent Knight, and we're going to be entering the round 3 of this tournament in this pod that we're currently casting. I mean, when it comes to stream, you can also watch other games, and well, fruitfully, we invite you everybody to join this also to watch some amazing games. But today we're here for the matchup of the century that we're going to be coming into. Short brief words about me. Newcaster here. I'm from also TCG as a player, but also a caster from Valorant. But let's not talk this much about me. Let's just start the games and see what deck lists are being prepared by our players in this round 3. The first one made by Dylan. It's a Master E combination, which is quite a lot of a control deck, but with a defensive twist, I'd say. We would see what is the opponent's pick in here, but let's just discuss this one right now, Silent Knight.
Yeah, the biggest thing about Master Yi is his legend ability here, where you are going to be able to get +2 might as defending, and so you have a lot of low-cost units that can get really big, really fast, and then not only that, you have a lot of cards to be utilized as well to then give those buffs, and just like that, though, we are going to be seeing a Master Yi versus Master Yi, so it's the best of both worlds, and whoever kind of controls the battlefield first might be the one to actually hold it, but there's a little bit of difference here, mainly in the Blitzcrank themselves being able to grab any unit outside of the battlefield and drag them right in and immediately start battle, which is really big with Master Yi's ability. And with that being said, guys, I think we are going to hop right into the game and see what we have in store as Master Yi goes against Master Yi.
Let's see, control against control. Whoever goes first might have a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to how this game will start, but looking at a starting hand from both players, we're just approaching this our first few. Let's see what we got in here. I think we might be seeing some kind of mulligan, and there it is, 2 cards from Sokka's hand going out. It was set, as you could have seen, it's the card that is not being included in Dylan's deck. In my opinion, it's kind of a bit of a offensive approach when it comes to this variation of the deck. Now let's start the game itself, and it's going to be Dylan that's starting this matchup, this BO3. We have the Dreaming Tree twice when it comes to the battlefields on the stage.
Yeah, and exactly right. And now this is going to be a big difference maker here as well, because, I mean, no matter what battlefield you take, you are getting the same effect. And now, of course, that ability is going to be the first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here. Each turn, draw 1. And so that's going to be a great job at trying to refill the card hands, trying to get a lot of utilization here. And we already see the Pit Rookie moving in and taking for the first point. And then not only that, though, moving in with the Charm as well to immediately take out the Poro as well. Now, with that being said, though, one thing that I'm curious about, though, is I think because it got moved over, though, because it got moved over, that was going to be a 2-2 in that case, and so we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, there is a lot to go on here, and these decks should be playing pretty fast, all things considered.
Let's see, what do we have here? There's going to be a second copy plate onto the battlefield from Sokka's hand, but nonetheless not so much of an action. We got the second point, it's a hold, pretty good start, and I think there's not going to be any reaction because of the fact that, well, you have 1 rune, but do you have what it takes in order to defy that? Not exactly, not entirely, when it comes to all of that. So there's a conquer, there's a third point, a good start for Dylan.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing, is now you're starting to get a lot of buffs out. Now Pit Rookie is going to be up to 3, so if something attacks in, immediately Pit Rookie is going to be out of 5. And you're also seeing Master Yi that has 3, or sorry, I can't just say Master Yi. You see Dylan having 3 runes ready in this case, and being able to activate maybe some cards in hand to really get things going. But I mean, still, having the Carnivorous Snapvine to deal 6 damage to something is going to be very great here. But at the same time, answers from Dylan here to really get things going. But with that, the Defy is going to be coming in, countering one of those two cards in that case. And so it looks like very well might just end up taking out that card all the same. And right there, now we are going up 1-3.
Well, as I was saying beforehand, it was very crucial to have this Defy in hand, always be prepared with at least one rune ready for countering anything that your opponent might want to take in between the rounds when it comes to the showdown, when it comes to trying to conquest or maybe defend. Right now, the first point goes in, and somehow indeed it could have happened because of the Slapwine, the Defy, a good combo coming in, but next hold is coming also, so there's a fourth for Dylan, and it's quite snowballing at this point, but we'll see how it goes for the next turn when obviously Sokka can play his Snapwine and other cards into the battlefields.
Well, and that's going to be the tricky part too. Having a Snapvine be able to take a battlefield will be a huge turn, because I mean, you're going to be having the Snapvine. Then if it is attacked and defending, it will be up to 8, and that is going to be difficult for anyone to try to get
That's
into.
true.
But here we see 7 coming out for Master Yi to come into the battlefield and immediately try to take the upper battlefield. I mean, this is the scary part. Yes, you have a Snapvine on the field, but at the same time, now you have Master Yi out, and it is 5-1.
No, at this point, you need to react on that, and that's going to be Snapwine played onto the top of the Dreaming Tree, so the point might be taken in that scenario, but there's
and there's another charm.
There's another charm, yes, exactly, and Master Yi is going to be taken down to Snapwine. Well, I think coming in clutch when it comes to this matchup right now.
Yeah, and that was an absolutely crucial play, having the charm, because as soon as the unit moves over to the other battlefield, what that's going to start is then make it to where that the Snapvine is now defending, the Master Yi effect activates, and it is 8-6, and so that is a great threat to be able to take care of Master Yi like that. And now there is only 3 cards in hand for the Master Yi player, and so I mean, this is going to be scary because it's like we still need those answers. And Dylan right now is looking really good here, having now a White Flame Protector, but at the same time, not necessarily enough runes to be able to utilize that yet.
I mean, when it comes to the setup that he has, it's barely 2 Kianas, but to be perfectly honest, looking at what Master Yi can offer from the other side, we got just a lot of might while defending, so it's going to be very tough in order to get Snapwine out of this. And we'll see on the other battlefield there's going to be another buff coming in there from Pit Rookie. That's just really tough when it comes to trying to conquer those battlefields to get another point. And I think that's what Sokka's plan is all about, getting those single units as much might as possibly you can, so that well, your opponent cannot play anything. And as we've seen on the hand, there's not much. He's had Kiana's belly and belly, I don't know, White Flame Protector. What can you do with that? It's 8 to cast, so
yeah, and that's going to be the hardest part. But I mean, at the same time, right now there is just a lot of control that they have on the battlefield, because I mean, they've used all 3 of their charms at this point, and I mean, now you don't have to worry about it. But I mean, it's 5-5, you're controlling both battlefields, and also you have 2 unutilized runes with only 1 card in hand, and so you got to be so careful though, because even if you do decide to go ahead and attack the bottom battlefield, it might not necessarily be enough to get things going. But there we go, buffing it up, +8
yeah,
to be able to take back this battlefield.
True. He wants to take it all within. So yeah, Snapwine is going to go out of this match. But right now, the 6 points coming onto Dylan's scoreboard. But yet another hold. So yeah, basically we're just having a tie in there, and it's going to be pretty rough spot for both players, I think.
Yeah, and so that's going to be the thing. It's kind of a standoff here where both players are kind of just holding their fields, but at the same time we see, Dylan in this case is gaining more points in this case. And so when it comes down to the final point to get victory, it's going to be tricky because if you hold, you can go up to the 8th point, or you need to be able to take both battlefields. And so right now, Sokka's going to be relying on that being, his win con here in this case. And so that can be pretty difficult to do, especially with only 2 cards in hand.
Okay, I think we might be getting somewhere with it, because we're going to be having White Flame Protector being played, but do we have any reaction from that? That's going to be might increased, and we're channeling some runes, and there might be a little bit of a rough spot when it comes to Dylan's side, but he uses the Defy, so right now the spell does not count, and whatever it is, there's nothing you can do about this.
Yep, and that's going to be a great deciding factor there to be able to take this game 1, and so that is going to be a scoop, and just like that, Dylan is going to be taking game number 1.
Yeah, truth be told, it was kind of a rough matchup when it comes to Sokka's side. I mean, he's had a little bit of a control at some points during the mid game, but early game and late game, it all came down to just basically a good play when it comes to just having new Kianas into the battlefield and properly using it. Then using this protector, which came in clutch in order to win it all, and and what we started when it comes to the 5 points that were scored very early from Dylan's side.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing here, is as we go into these deck lists and take a look at both of them, you're going to be seeing what they could be possibly wanting to side deck into. Now, one of the biggest things here for Sokka might be wanting to go ahead and add Rune Prison to their deck, because what that's going to be doing is stunning a unit, and you can play that in Showdown. So when you're going to be making that big push, guess what? You're going to just be getting pushed back in this case, and that can be a very big game changer, especially when every point and hold on top of that needs to be earned in this game. And so it'll be interesting to see what they are able to do to get back into this game.
There's one more interesting thing that we might see. Perhaps we'll see a little bit of a mirror when it comes to battlefields once again, because the Dreaming Tree was being used by 2 of the players. Right now we have Started, Peak and Groove of the God Willow all available, but it all comes down to what the players want to achieve when it comes to the second game, and it's gonna be not a mirror. So Started, Peak, Groove of the God Willow, and if we go to the game 3, then we'll just have the same matchup all over again when it comes to those battlefields. But right now, let's see, starting hands, maybe something changes up in them, perhaps, but I don't know. What can you tell us, Silent Knight, about the start that we might see?
Well, the biggest thing here is that you, especially getting onto the battlefields early, are going to be crucial here, and there's not going to be any rune advantage. So right now with Dylan, for example, he might be struggling a little, trying to get rid of some cards to get that 2 or 3 drop to make an impact, and he's not able to find it. Yes, it's nice that he has a Snapvine, sure, but the Poro coming out is going to be such a great utilizer, especially because the Poro has something called Shield, which what that does is when it is defending, it adds +1 to its might, which means with Master Yi's ability, while it is defending, it can go up to 5, just like that. And again, we're going to be seeing some really great and fast gameplay here.
Yeah, truth be told, yes, we're seeing yet another turn being played. We got second Poro, we got first point, we got Kiana being played, which costs us 1 rune, so this is not the best start, as I was saying, for Dylan, as you were saying also, that you need to be taking control very early on when it comes to this fight. It's 3 points already with 2 Poros being just on the battlefields, on both of the battlefields, holding the steady ground. And what can you do? There's going to be Blitzcrank coming in clutch, and Kiana might be taken down, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's still 1 untapped rune in this case, so there's a chance that there might be a response.
True.
And it looks like, yeah, there's an Unguard that's going to be coming out, and even with an Hourglass in hand as well is going to be a pretty good thing to utilize. But the Unguard's going to add 2. The Blitzcrank does have tank, so it is at least going to take out the Blitzcrank. and still be able to hold, and that is going to slow down Dylan even more in this case. And so I'm going to be curious to see, how this is going to be going, because the Snapvine's going to be coming in. That'll be good, but at the same time, it's like now being 3-0, soon to be probably 4-0 even as well. That can be a big advantage in and of itself to really take this game and go to game 3.
I mean, playing Carnivorous Snapvine in this scenario was kind of a no-brainer when it comes to all of what we've seen. Just getting rid of one of the portals, getting rid of 1 point that could potentially be taken by Sokka. So right now it's his turn. He's going to play Kiana from his hand. He's going to save some runes probably for counterspelling when it comes to the showdown, but we'll see how it goes, because this Carnivorous Snapvine is 1 might more than the portal that's being defended, and there we have it. There we have it, the prison, but the fight coming in clutch, so I think the portal is going down.
Yeah, the Poro is gone in that case, but Rune Prison can be such a great card to utilize. But man, when you have things like Defy and things of that nature, that is going to be so difficult to try to come back from. Now, that's going to be the hard part too, though, is when you are playing Snapvine, it can really come in clutch on getting back into this game and getting back into control. But the hardest part with that as well is that you have to recycle 2 of your runes, which can really also hinder you as well, especially when you're maybe trying to get like a Master Yi out or things of that nature. And here we go with the Hourglass coming out onto the battlefield. Now, what that's going to be doing is the next time a unit would die, then it gets brought back to base and the Hourglass gets removed. And so it's a great kind of insurance to have, especially when going against a Master Yi deck, because that monster will just come back swinging on the following turn.
Well, it might be pretty rough for Sokka in this scenario because of the fact that he plays 3 copies of Zhonya's, so truthfully, he might be in a rough spot. We have Set coming in to the base of Sokka's, but Kiana's still holding on the battlefield, 5 points to 2 points. He's coming back. He's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game on our hands because of the fact that it was very, very one-sided from the starting point, but then a comeback when it comes to the Snapvine that killed 1 portal, and still there's something that you can do about all of this. We got Snapvine returning to the base just to save it from being, I don't know, raptured or something like that.
Well, and also at the same time, he just played First Mate, which will allow you to ready another unit, a very strong ability, especially when you go ahead and have a Snapvine out onto the battlefield. So if he so chooses, he can go ahead and attack into the battlefield. If Master Yi has any, if Sokka has any answers in this case, then, in this case, the Hourglass will just go ahead and disappear, and the Snapvine will just go back to base and be able to fight another day. So there's going to be a lot of utilization here to maybe try to get ahead. And also keep in mind, though, right now Sokka has 5 cards in hand compared to Dylan's 2. Card advantage here is going to be such a critical asset in trying to get ahead and stay ahead in this game as well.
But we need to see what will be done when it comes to those showdowns. Okay, we got 1 rune exhausted. There's going to be, of course, the rune prison. So Carnivorous Snapvine cannot do anything. But I think Sonya is going to be used now.
Yep, and so in that case, we do see that the Pit Rookie is going to be moving into the bottom battlefield to at least gain another point. You don't necessarily feel bad about maybe losing that battlefield. Yes, you don't want to, but still, a point is a point, especially when you are down by so much. But yeah, you're exactly right. That was a great job in utilizing that. But not only that, the battlefields here are scary because in this case, it's like when you hold here, draw 1. And then also with Star-Tipped Peak, when you hold here, you may channel a rune exhausted. So holding these battlefields can gain such an advantage on these upkeeps. And we already see another Defy coming out.
Ooh, for Primal Strength, it was very costly. So that might add quite a lot. And this may very much turn over the game at all. Yes, we see that. The Pit Rookie is going to be played, but let's see how the React is going to come in. Okay, this turn is of Sokka, so a portal coming into the base.
And here you got to be a little bit careful. Now you see still 4 cards in hand for Sokka here, and 4 runes ready to be used if anything might be here, and at 7 points. So, with that being said, that is going to mean that Dylan needs to take both battlefields in order to stop Sokka from winning game 2, and that is going to be a great start to do so, as a White Flamed Protector adds +8 to a unit of choice.
Which unit will he choose? And that one is going to be First Mate. He's going to have quite a lot of this, so 11 might on him, and that might just well turn around all of this matchup once again, because we've had a lot of control from Sokka, but then on the other hand, what Dylan had, what Dylan has on his base, on his hand, also makes it that he has a lot of chances in order to make sure that the points come into his account rather than his opponent's. But well, what reactions can he use? What units can he summon into his base? We'll see from Sokka's in the coming seconds.
Well, and here's the thing. We saw exactly what Sokka was going to be able to utilize with abilities here. So he's going to go Unguard, which is going to be adding 2, bringing it up to 8. There is only 1 rune left, but it looks like not going to be able to take both, and that will pretty much seal this game.
Most probably, yes, because of the fact that we cannot counter it at any point. So that's going to be the 8-1. Okay, we got 1-1, so it's going to be a tie, and for the third game we're going to be seeing the very same battlefields, because as I said before, it's a middle matchup, so the battlefields do not differ. But when it comes to the cards alone that are here in the decks, yeah, indeed there are quite a lot of changes that just play a little bit differently when it comes to singular moments in terms of this match.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting too, because I think this is almost aiming towards being the fastest 3 games casted in Riftlab so far. Not saying much considering the 2 tournaments we've had, but man, it's just a very, okay, I'm going to play this. Do you have it? No?
Yeah, true.
Okay, I take. Cool.
They
Do you
know
have
the
it? No?
hands.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to take. And so, but it's going to be interesting because those who can utilize the card draw and get the answers in hand are going to be the ones who can win out. And so, I mean, do you keep pretty much the same sides? Do you make some adjustments? Is it going to really make a difference with how fast these games are moving? If you side something in and you don't see it, how big of an impact could it make? Master Yi versus Master Yi is very interesting, and we are headed into game number 3.
At this point, whoever draws better cards from the starting point and then, has a little bit of this lack may win it all when it comes to this series, because of the fact that we see that if hand properly aligns, then there's nothing that you can worry about.
Yep, and so we're going to be seeing the starting hands. The battlefields have been revealed, and now we can see what cards in hand we are going to be utilizing here. And so just like that, again, though, on this side, so far for Sokka, no 2-drops just yet, and so they put 1 card back, but at the same time, no 2-drop on either side, and so they're going to be trying to push for that and try to get some answers. But if there's no 2-drops, this could be a much slower game. Ooh, and 1 found for Dylan.
Let's see if this goes by his mind, and we've got the first card being played from Dylan at this point, and it's going to be a slow start, so if there's going to be any reacting, no whatsoever, because as we've seen from the hand of Sokka, he didn't have any cards to play that could have been utilized. But right now we're going to have Conquer, we're going to have the first point, we're going to use the started peak, so when you hold it, you may channel 1 rune Exhausted.
And now here's going to be the interesting part with choosing to go ahead and take Grove of the God.
Sorry, of course, it was Grove of the God. Well, yeah, sorry for that. When you hold it, draw 1.
Problem.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and so being able to draw 1 is going to be absolutely huge each turn. And I mean, right now we already see 7 cards to 5 in this case. The Kiana is going to be a big factor here. Also being able to get some card draw or some runes. But I mean, look at these hands. the Blitzcrank might actually come in clutch right here for Sokka, but still 7 cards and a lot of backfield to be able to buff up some units when they are getting attacked in, but still, oh my gosh, here comes the movement here and
Lots
a
of
counter,
spells.
just like that.
Yeah, just like that. We're going to be seeing a lot of those spells coming in from both Master Yi's, as we've seen from the hands that they have. And, well, what is the play in here? What is the next step that's going to be taken on guard? Okay, we buff and we go out to the trash. 6 might, that's quite a lot. That might come in handy. 2 points right now for Dylan, so it goes without saying that right now it's a great start for him. But when it comes to the runes that he has, well, 2 barely. He's going to have 4. Will it be enough in the mid game?
Well, and that's going to be the hard part, and you make a great point there with that, because it's like, yeah, you have 4. Now, the nice part about playing Master Yi is that a lot of your units are around 4 or 5 cost. You're not necessarily playing the really big stuff, and so you might still be able to continue to build up your battlefield and prepare, but yeah, you're exactly right. Having the missing of 2 runes, is going to be pretty tough, and a little bit of insurance with the Hourglass here is going to be pretty handy. But the Blitzcrank is going to be pretty tough because that's going to be 7 with Master Yi's ability, and then it also has tank. So if you happen to want to redefend it or, defend up with something and put Blitzcrank with something else, tank can be a very big asset, even above wanting to maybe use the legend ability. So here we go with Set coming in, and we're seeing Sokka build up a very scary battlefield. Set now, of course, will buff itself because when it comes in and is played, you buff him. And so you can remove the buff, add +4, and then if you go ahead and get the Conquer, he just gets another buff.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of points, so it might be 8 to Set when he wants to attack. Right now, we'll be seeing there's going to be Charm being played, and I think there's no reaction to it whatsoever. Maybe, just maybe, there's On Guard coming in clutch. Oh, the fire once again. My days, that's quite a lot of spells coming in, and this takes out Blitzcrank. I think Sokka thought, okay, I got it. I barely have it, but unfortunately, so many spells. This card, Draw that you mentioned before, it came in handy, and fully speaking, there's 4 points right now for Dylan, and it's looking more than great.
Yeah, but the biggest thing here, too, is you got to keep hoping that these cards can hold. And, I mean, that is a great stun coming out to be able to stop Set from being able to attack. And there's nothing you can do. It doesn't just say, you lose attack and you can keep buffing again. No, it's just stunned. There is no attack, no combat damage that is able to be dealt. And so that little buff spent, too bad. You get to go back to base. I get to hold. I get to draw another card in my upkeep. It's now 5-1, and I have 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right now. If you play it correctly, it's a slow play into the great unknown when it comes to this endgame. So if you have what it takes, if you have correct cards in your hands, then maybe you can finish it off, snowball it a little bit, and slowly and steadily finish your opponent off. But 1 point, that's quite tough. You got 2 units, quite a lot of runes, but I think we should see a little bit of this hand from both of the players so that we can have a bigger picture of what's happening.
So with
Rune Prison, 2 charms. Okay, that's not the worst, but when it comes to Dylan's hand, we got First Mate twice, we got Challenge, we got another Kiana. So I think Sokka is in a very tough spot.
He definitely is, especially being at 6-1 in this case. That, again, is going to be so difficult to come back. And, playing it safe, Kiana's going to at least be able to conquer and draw a card, so that's going to be helpful. But still, this is scary because even if you try to go ahead and take the other battlefield, there are 2 runes that are able to be utilized here by Dylan. And so we know what's in his hand, but also at the same time, Sokka has no idea. So the Snapvine coming in is going to be a great answer, at least. The Hourglass is going to be spent, but next turn, we could very well be seeing a Master Yi coming out, which can really help to take back the battlefield and try to get those final 2 points. This could be scary. It could be over pretty quick. Oh, but the charm is going to be a big difference maker.
Yeah, truth be told, that's going to be quite a lot, and we got first man going down. So first mate, of course, he's not going to be much of a trouble for Sokka right now. So just one card in the base from Dylan. What can you do? What can you do? You had quite a lot of spells. You had Kiana also in your hand, but at this point,
yeah, well, and that's the thing is you have some good card advantage here that you could potentially utilize. Try to rebuild up your base maybe a little bit so that you can go in with a good push. We see the Kiana coming out. That's going to be helpful, if anything, to try to get things moving. But still, you're exactly right. You got to try to find a way to get past this wall that is Master Yi's ability. And so that's going to be one of the hardest parts. But having 5 with Kiana coming in is going to make it that much easier. But still, there's not necessarily a whole lot that can be utilized to try to go ahead and get here. And just like that, it is now 6-5, and Sokka has come back in this game.
yeah, true. There's going to be the double hold, so we utilizing one draw. One rune is coming into play, exhausted now. We have a little bit of an exchange, so Set comes into the base, but Snapwine comes back to the battlefield. Let's see. So now the rune's going to be channeled and Charm being walked on. Kiana dragged onto the battlefield, but with the might and the Master Yi's ability, there's not so much that you can do. No runes whatsoever available, just one, and you've used quite a lot of those spells beforehand, so you don't have anything to defend with.
Yeah, that's just been an absolute clutch play right there, and this is going to be a little bit scary because how do you take down, a Snapvine in this case, and that's going to be so difficult. And then on top of that, in the backfield, you have Set in your base, which you can just go ahead and spend the buff, immediately just add 4 more might to them and just go ahead and attack him for 8. And that can get over so much of Master Yi's stuff, especially if they might not have the buffs needed to go ahead and defend the battlefield. And so this is just looking really good so far for both these competitors, but still going ahead and clutch with the Protector to add +8 to the Pit Rookie can be something that can make a difference in taking this battlefield, but still 4 cards at the ready for Sokka.
Oh, Pit Rookie at 10, Wifling Protector ready next turn with 8, but right now we need to know our priorities, what to do if we want to have more runes when it comes to next play. But let's look at this, it's Rune Prison, whatever, there's nothing that you can do, and this is going to be just double hold when it comes to Sokka. So right now, this turn, he can do whatever he wants with the cards that he has. There's Charm, there's Protector, there's Snapwine. He has all the cards needed to win it all, I think, because of the fact that we have just barely 3 units ready in base on the next turn from Dylan. But you have to hold, you have to take, you have to conquer both of them in order to make this work.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. Like, what can you do at this point to try to take both? Especially when they're taking out now the Protector with the Charm, exactly right there. And it's like, we still luckily have maybe Master Yi that we might be able to utilize, but that might only take 1 battlefield in this case. And so we're still going to be having a really difficult chance on taking both, and Sokka might have just secured it, especially with that Charm right there.
With that set now coming in clutch, yeah, this... nothing that you can do whatsoever when it comes to this matchup, having just barely 2 cards. Do you have anything that can stand any chance in order to bring it all back? You need to make sure that Snapwine goes out. It's 8 might, that's quite a lot. You have a fully equipped second battlefield with Set, Kiana, and a smaller unit, which obviously is just not something that you can, well, play around. Or maybe, just maybe, in that scenario, there's something that you can still do. There's going to be Snapwine, so we're getting rid of one of those characters in the first place. Whichever will that be, is going to be Set.
Yeah, that's still going to be a great answer, but you still need to be able to take these battlefields, and you already spent now, 5 of your runes for the turn to be able to do so, and it's like, well, I still need to take both, and so it might be just too little too late for Dylan, unfortunately, because it's like, I don't think there's anything that they could do to be able to take both. Master Yi might have been able to maybe make an impact a little bit if you would have attacked him with everything, but still having 2 runes ready for Sokka, that's going to be a big difference maker.
That might be quite a lot, because right now what we're seeing is a little bit of a play here. No, never mind, the Snapwine. Look at that. That's not something that you think you can play around. So that's going to be the end game right now. And the last point is going to be taken by Sokka, of course. Well, to be perfectly honest, when it comes to this Master Yi matchup, we saw quite a lot of going back and forth of, as you said before, do you have this card? No, then we just go next. Next turn, whatever. This matchup was quite exciting when it comes to all of that we've seen. We've seen the potential that Master Yi has an impact on its own kind when it comes to the mirror matchup.
Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. And that's going to be the biggest thing is, who has the card utility a little bit better? Who's able to draw the cards needed in hand to be able to get things going? And in this case, we saw Sokka was able to keep the ground running, keep the momentum. And I really think Set was one of the biggest difference makers in this match. And, especially in a mirror match, having something like that to utilize to make that difference can be cataclysmic here against something. And Dylan played well, but unfortunately, it looks like Sokka was able to take it from him.
Truth be told, that was an exciting matchup, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes to round 4 what brings us to the table. This round was being won by, when it comes to this matchup, it was being won by Sokka. Better Master Yi taking it all, but the last round of today's day is going to be what we fight for. So let's see after the short break.